Hello! Today it's 55, which is like 13°C. And it's been raining off and on today. I'm not sure exactly how much. Yesterday was 70, which we decided was around about 22. Based on the circly thing on the wall here. Yes. So what I wanted to do as a first look, post reasonable amount of rain, is see what our trench here is doing. Now, of course, this is not a large quantity of rain. This region is capable of sizable to terrifying quantities of rain, which is fine. We get really heavy storms and they can cause flooding of a lot of times it's of the highway structure below us, basements, up to and including something I've learned over a lifetime of living here, is that a fast water flood is much more terrifying than a slow water flood. Because a fast water flood will rip everything up with it. I was wondering whether there'd end up being standing water in here. It doesn't look like there is. Now, it's only drizzled, but it's not like it was dry, you know? I'm also having concerns about leaving this open for too long. As much as I really want to keep going in a couple of directions, I also want to get at least some of the wood chips up in here so that the sides don't start collapsing in. You know? So it doesn't destabilize things like U-posts jammed into the ground proximate to it. Stuff like that, you know, things and stuff. I was really genuinely expecting this to be a lot soggier, and it's not. It's super interesting that it's not. I have continued the trench, as you can see, and for those that aren't sure what they're looking at here, I'll show you the end result, what that's going to look like in just a moment here. I continue to increase the workload for myself, and you know what is one of the stranger fun facts about my personality is I love moving dirt around. Like, all of these earthworks are kind of my favorite thing. Is that weird? That's weird. I know it's weird. There's certainly a couple more places in here that I could add some more dirt, but the daffodils were already peeked through and starting to bud, and I didn't want to drown them until they were a little more dormant. So I've left deep depressions here and here. So you see how big that pit is looking at it from here. The secret is that the same thing is going on underneath here. Underneath there. And also underneath here. So this is about 2 foot deep of just straight wood chips. This is also about 2 foot deep, like this, just wood chips straight down. And so my plan is not only am I going to fill this with wood chips, I'm also going to continue down and top up this that rock. I'm going to pull out. I'm going to pull out a lot of the rocks, at least temporarily, and level this all the way back. hoping that the overflow point can encourage water a little bit more this way. It's kind of like the last capture of this corner, but I kind of want the runoff from this hill to start being directed farther away from the house, you see. The slab has been getting freeze-thaw damages to its stability. So if I could start catching the water as it comes here and bring it the whole way around, and I only want to deepen this a little bit, and we'll just move the wood chips wherever they end up going. That would be... What? Beeped. That would be so helpful to have that water still stay in the grounds, because coming down off of this big hill, I get a lot of water. It comes rushing down. So walking the trench, it'll be walking a wood chip path that just has more depth than you can visually see. I will continue it. My plan is to continue that here, and then I actually want to have this path be a little bit farther away and have some growing space right up against this retainer wall, because we saw in the wintertime it has this melted band right up in front of it, so it retains heat in a almost open air greenhouse kind of way. And so I think it would be really nice to kind of like take advantage of that. And I think I'll pile soil up instead of dig down, because you can already see, very clearly see, that no, my retainer wall is not stable, and yes, I fully do expect it to collapse at some point. And when it does, we'll re-slant the soil behind it and stack the rocks back up like it's not gonna fall into the road or anything. It could doink the side of the shed, I suppose. I guess we'll see what happens on that. Some of that soil I moved, I came and piled on top of my compost heap here. The compost heap that just, the critters are loving it a good bit too much. But I do want to fence this in, figure out maybe what my access path and structure for it's going to be, but this is going to be my next fenced in area. I'm going to have to keep an eye out for, the bulbs we saw yesterday. Look what they do on overcast, cold, and or rainy days. That's how they last so long, is they don't let themselves be vulnerable. They are not good at vulnerability. They're like, nope. So they're very, very pretty at midday and when the sun's out, and then they're quite diminutive and not too much in standing out when it's chillier, colder, or wet. And there'll be a bunch up in here. There'll be a bunch along there. In fact, my watering can might be in the way. Silly watering can, come here. Well, the leaves are just as in the way. It'll be fine. They find their way through. Yeah. So that's definitely the next step. And if I can just bring this level down to the point where it gets just a little bit of overflow to here, instead of all of the overflow going down there and then into their yard. If I could just recapture some of it, because it'll come about this way. I think that'll be a really, really big update, a big good change, you know? I think that'll be great. All right, well, let me know what you think about all this. I mean, your first thought is probably going to be, I don't want to do all that work. Well, that's fair. That's why I'm doing it, right? And then, you know, seems like a lot of people are liking the concept. I don't know, especially I think one thing I'd like to know is how well you think it would work in your soil, your climate. Do you think there would be drawbacks in other settings, other topography, or other benefits in different topography, soil types, climate types? I'm fascinated to hear like your experience in your area and whether you think this would apply. And if you could see any downsides or upsides, because, you know, my experience in growing is in this climate and predominantly in this soil type, because our regional soil type is all quite similar. And I've only gardened in so many areas, and I can see my childhood fireworks display from the edge of this cliff, so I've not got far, you know. I can't see where I lived, but I can see the fireworks they put off, you know. So that tells you it's down that way. But it's like around the bend, you know. Yeah. So, yeah, I might move some wood chips tonight. That might be something I do. I do need to move a bit more dirt. I want to do a brief hey it's me from the future and show you what I did get into and will continue to get into as it gets dark out. I am notching out the center of this pathway and putting in some wood chips. The boxes are from underneath the pre-existing wood chips on that path. We got a train coming. And yeah, that's an extra like 4 or 5 foot of trench. I'm gonna take it down to right about there, I think. But one little notch to connect it up to the deep hole, or maybe not. And that's the update. All right, back to the regular show. But I hope you're having a really nice day. Thank you so much for visiting the cliffside. This has been Permaculture. Take care. Bye.